Acorn and the cat watched as the firefighters extinguished the blaze. Without the violet light of the fire, the night seemed suddenly claustrophobic. Now the sky was illuminated only by the cooler, paler fires of the moon, the stars, and the flashing lights on the assembled emergency vehicles. The snow no longer fell in individual sparkling flakes. It was now a single heavy sheet of gray and cold that pressed down on Acorn with the cumulative weight of the centuries of snow that had already fallen on his defiant shoulders. But Acorn was no Atlas. He could not hold the weight forever. Both he and the cat were acutely aware of this fact. The fire trucks pulled away. The moon continued to shine. The snow continued to fall. Acorn continued. "I'm not going with you," Acorn said at last. The cat licked one of its white paws nonchalantly. "I know." Acorn lunged forward and bit off the cat's head with one snap of his mighty jaws. The cat's body toppled from the fence post to the ground, and Acorn spat out the severed head beside it. "Are you trying to annoy me?" said a voice from the darkness. "You aren't succeeding." The cat pranced into view along the fence and jumped down to sit on its own dead body. It playfully battered the severed head with one paw like a feline cephalophore. Cephalophore is a really good word, thought both Acorn and the cat. Acorn gazed at the impossible being. He felt as if his mind, which had up until that point been expanding, was starting to collapse in on itself. If his mind was a Friedman model universe, his density parameter omega would have just exceeded 1, meaning its actual density rho was greater than the critical density rho c, approximately 5 monoatomic hydrogen atoms per cubic meter, as determined by the equation rho c equals 3hx squared divided by 8 pi g, where g is Newton's gravitational constant and h is a function of time, triggering a terminal contraction of said universe. That's what Acorn felt like. "Tell me your name," Acorn said. The cat started shitting for the umpteenth time. "I go by Acorn whinnied a furious whinny like a fucking car alarm hopped up on cheap amphetamines. "If you say I go by many names, I swear to fucking God I will wreck you." The cat flickered its tail. "No, I was going to say I go by Minos, a single name. You, however, Granny, Leoth Matcha, Arion, the Darley Arabian, Eclipse, both Cincinnati and Traveler. I always thought that Xanthos had a nice ring to it, but now... Acorn." The cat's adorable little nose twinkled in disgust. "A dull name for a domesticated beast. Why did you give it up? The names, the power, all of it. Acorn is the name of strength, a huge mighty creature that has temporarily chosen dormancy, but has the potential to spring back in even grander form at any moment. Yes, if dropped in fertile soil, but it is far more likely that it will fall impotently and onto the sterile roof of a patio and be eaten by a squirrel. But it may, if it wishes, sprout within the stomach of the squirrel, rending the flesh of the weak rodent from within until it... No, it can't. That's not how seeds work. And you know as well as I do that the name isn't the fucking point. Why are you pretending to be that which you are not?" Acorn responded by crushing the cat yet again. "Where are the animals that were in the clinic?" Pam asked Mrs. Crandall, as the narrative abruptly shifted back to the humans. "Your dad and Pawnee brought them to my office in the old barn," Mrs. Crandall answered, her birthmark makeup beginning to run from the heat-induced sweat trickling down her forehead from underneath her bald cap. Pam was just glad that Pawnee was no longer weeping over the stiffening body of their friend. "Anna, I've been looking all over for you," one of the firefighters said. It was Anna's father. Pam hardly recognized him. His face was preternaturally pale, and his eyes seemed to glow faintly red, reflecting the still smoldering embers of the fire. Pam wondered, not yet suspecting what forces were working through him. From his words, it seemed the poor man had not yet realized that his daughter was dead, Pam thought sadly. She watched the suit-stained firefighter kneel over Anna's body in the snow. He took off his helmet and held Anna's hand. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," Anna answered, sitting up. Pam gasped in shock. The girl had been indisputably dead for the last 10 minutes. How was this possible? Not even in the most forbidden of dark magic books had Pam seen anything that could explain the seemingly miraculous revival. "I swear, Dad, this big," Anna said, indicating the size with her hands. "A delicious foot-long Subway sandwich for only $5. "What's the catch?" Mr. Harley asked. "Can you only get a limited selection of vegetables?" "Nope," Anna replied with a big grin. "You can get all the garden fresh veggies you want. And don't forget the cheese. Still only $5. Anna's father put an approving hand on his daughter's shoulder. "That's a damn good deal, Anna. A damn good deal." Pam watched the conversation warily. Anna had been dead on the ground only minutes ago, and now she and her father were casually discussing the fantastic prices that Subway restaurants were offering on select foot-long sandwiches. "Eat fresh, Anna," Pam said in a low whisper that was half warning, half threat. "Eat fresh." This Pony Pals illustration has been brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh. Anna gave her father a quick hug. "See you later, Dad," she said. Pam decided not to question her friend's resurrection for the moment. Anna seemed unaware of her own death, so Pam led her to the barn office without comment. But Pam was cautious. It was likely that this was not the same Anna that she had once known. Dr. Crandall was putting a fresh bandage on Brandy's wound. "Pam, please get a clean pair of Stromhose for this reprehensible war criminal," he said. "They're in the closet under the hayloft ladder. Anna, could you sedate Brandy for a second?" While Anna pressed the ether-soaked rag over Brandy's face, he looked around the barn office. The Pony Pals bound volumes of NYPD Blue fan fiction were piled in a corner. Portable kennels were set up around the room. The sloth whose arm Anna had taken was in one kennel. 2 other cats and a dog were in kennels too. The third dog was lying to himself if he thought his haircut didn't make him look like a washed-up daytime talk show host. There had been 3 dogs, 3 cats, and 1 sloth in the kennel room that day. Now Pam saw only 2 cats, 3 dogs, and the resentful sloth. She let out a sigh of relief. The black cat was missing, hopefully burned to a crisp like a neglected bagel bite in a toaster oven. Anna felt a coldness that she had never before experienced. What had happened to her after she collapsed, she wondered. Did she die in the fire? Was this the afterlife? If so, the afterlife was really shitty. She tapped her sloth claws on the table in front of her rhythmically and pondered the consequences of her own existence as she had never done before. Pam, looking at her from across the room, was doing the same. The thing in the barrel on page 25 wasn't a bomb, it was actually a ham. It is now cooked to perfection.